SpaghettiOs.
I got sick on SpaghettiOs years ago when I was a little kid. So I've never really liked SpaghettiOs.
No SpaghettiOs. It's been a long time since I've had SpaghettiOs.
I remember it being really watery.
Well, yeah, it's like basically tomato soup with stuff.
With sodium. Lots of sodium.
Oh, no wrong with lots of sodium.
Whee! Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's time once again for Squares Roundtable Podcast, episode 127. I'm Mike, and with me right now is Jeff.
Hello.
And a little later will be Ivan. I think we're having some technical difficulties on his end, so...
Is that what it is? Because I was under the impression maybe he snorted too much gravy up his nose or something like that.
Well, it must have been... He was DJing all weekend, man. He was on Facebook Live quite a bit over the weekend.
Gravy overdose or something like that, you know.
Yeah. Well...
So did you catch any of his stuff over the weekend?
I got a little bit of it. I mean, I worked all weekend, so... I caught a little bit of what he was doing last night on Facebook Live. Some of his random records with Rivera, or Rivera's random records, or something with many R's in it. So I watched him with that on Facebook for a bit. And, of course, Facebook was shutting him down every 30 minutes.
Got it.
But anyhow, it was good. It's good spinning here talking to his buddies.
Anything worthwhile? Anything worth, what, like, when you say random, how random was it?
Pretty random. I know he did some other shows where he was constantly getting knocked off because he was playing a lot of mainstream songs, like from the late 70s, early 80s, and he kept getting booted from the Facebooks. But last night he was playing some really random stuff, so... but it was good, though. It was fun seeing his buddies from across the pond. It's like, hey, it's 3:30 a.m. here. I'm like, oh, boy.
Yeah.
Like, yikes. Well, at least you're up. So, I guess I'll start as we wait for Ivan to join us. I had a really good Thanksgiving. It was quiet. It was subdued. And we've made just as much food as if there were 20 people here. And we've had 4 days of turkey leftovers. I'm done with turkey for a while, man. But, man, my Aunt Carol's stuffing was superb. And we had tons of mashed potatoes. So I had a great Thanksgiving dinner. So I had a great day. And no rain and no snow. And everyone's stuck at home. Everyone is putting lights on their house. So that's what we were doing. I'm selling grills and
but, like, you had to have, like, they all have, like, their, like, show up at first thing in the morning and the first, like, 5 people get... like something ridiculously priced, right?
No, we don't have that no more. We used to, years ago, when we used to have like the GPSs and like the Texas Hold'em game or DVD player or something like that. But not this year. We can only sell so many drill bit sets and tape measures every year. But we didn't have anything special as far as like...
Was it like the
items.
big like Rudolphs and all that shit, or was it just lights?
Big inflatables. That was one thing. We had this one Santa Claus that's a wacky waving an inflatable arm flailing tube man. Had that up front of the store, and I think we sold just about all of those. But the inflatables, that's the popular thing this year is the inflatables. We had this huge 6-foot Grinch. It's indoors and it's like $200. You walk past it, it sets off a sensor, it plays some of the song.
Oh, really?
And we sold like 2 of those within a week. Like, those are $200 a drop. But, man, that lights aisle got decimated and just decorations. Everyone's putting lights on their house because everyone's stuck at home.
Everybody wearing a mask, though, right?
Yeah.
Or did you have to kick people out?
Only 1 or 2 people, but they complied. They put their mask on. They know we're in, like, this Black Friday. I worked a lot of Black Fridays. And this was one of our busiest. But everyone's going to be out. Everyone's stuck indoors for Thanksgiving, and the weather was nice, like I said. Everyone was out. It was crazy. Like, no one wanted to be at Walmart, I guess. But maybe they were, because, I don't know, I wasn't there.
No, that's just never been my thing. I've never understood. I mean, I get it, but it's like, considering
on
how
Black Friday?
early, yeah, I mean, considering how early you have to be to like get the ridiculous deal. I mean, like the ridiculous deal. Like I'm exaggerating here, but like, okay, a brand new computer for like $100 or some weird stuff like that.
Or crazy cheap flat screen TVs.
Right, or something like that, where it's like ridiculously insane, and it's like, but you gotta get there practically like 10 a.m. the previous morning, and like be sitting outside the whole way.
With
and
the Rona,
like,
all the stores were closed on Thursday, so they opened super
right.
early on Friday, and I think there were probably some stores were limiting attendance in the stores just to keep the store out of capacity.
Right.
But yeah,
well,
we had a busy weekend.
Yeah.
Though.
No. Like I said, I mean, you know, God bless them for the people who love that stuff and want to run and do that stuff. I just, you know, it's just not. Look, I'm all for that kind of stuff, but you know, if I got to sleep overnight, like literally waiting in line outside in the middle of November, you know, maybe when I was like 15 or 16,
yeah,
but
like 10 or 12 years ago, I was out there. It was fun to do, find some neat stuff, some cool figures. But I was never out there to try and find the furniture or the deal on the television. That wasn't me.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, there's that too. I mean, I don't even know what obviously the PS5's got to be the hottest thing, right? I mean, that's got to be.
And that's the thing, like, I guess, like, GameStop had, like, 5 of them in reserve that they couldn't pre-order. So you had to walk in the store and be there right there in the morning when they opened to get a PS5.
How much? I don't even know how much it is. I mean,
I think it's like $600, isn't it? I think
could be.
It's like $500.
Could be. I mean, yeah. See, I mean, that's what I mean. I'm like, I mean, $600. You don't even get a game yet.
I think it comes with the Spider-Man, doesn't it? The new Spider-Man.
Oh, maybe it does. Maybe it does. Maybe it does. Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. You get one game. I don't know. $600. Wow. I mean, now it's showing my age. It's like I could have bought like 6 ColecoVisions for that. But,
let's see. I think, well, they have games. I'm checking here what the PS5 console usually sells for. Yeah, it's $500. 500 bones for PS5. And of course, you know, there's a regional, I guess there's a lesser memory maybe console that was $400, but that's sold out too. I'm on Best Buy's website. And yeah,
you know what that really means? You know what it really means? It means that like now you can finally get like a PS4 for like nothing.
Yeah.
And all those games are out there, so it's like if you're like if you're like generations behind on some of this stuff, it's like perfect. I can go get it like a PS4 for like $100 now. Yeah. That's just what I needed.
You get a PS2, you never have to update your games.
Is that true?
Yeah, PS2 was before the internet. Really, before people had. I'm sure there were multiple areas.
Oh, you mean that way? You mean that way?
PS2, you never.
Games.
There's no like day one DLC to download. There's
got it.
All the game was right there on the disc, and that was all you needed.
Sure, right. That exactly.
Before they got into that
that's
racket
the other thing.
When you buy a game, it's not complete.
Yeah, there's that too, where it's like, oh, if you buy this game at this time, you get this playable character that you normally wouldn't get, and it's like, what? Why?
They did that with there's War for Cybertron when it came out, was it 2011, 2012? And then they had the sequel, Fall of Cybertron. But a lot of characters, you had to buy the...
Well, didn't they do that for like one of the Marvel... Aren't they doing it for like some of the Marvel games? I know they do it for like the WWE games, some of them, where it's like, if you do this, you get this playable character.
Yeah, or you get special skins, like the Lou Ferrigno Hulk, in the Avengers game that came out, which I've heard is pretty good.
God, I'll be honest, I really haven't owned a console and a console gaming system in like eons now.
Yeah, I've talked about maybe getting Star Wars Squadrons for my PS4, but I just use the PS4 for, just for playing classic games, or like when my buddy brings over episodes that he downloads, he'll put it on a thumb drive and I'll plug it into the PlayStation. We'll watch some of that.
And kind of laugh. I wouldn't mind finding like an old school Sega, like the original back in the day Sega, and finding like old school Madden.
Like a Genesis or a
yeah, like a Sega Genesis with all like the really good sports games. Like if Sega came out with the same thing that Nintendo came out with their 8-bit, where they had like a Sega and it had all like 10 games loaded on it, I'd be it. I mean, unless like they didn't include the sports games in those, but like if it had like Madden and like the NHL game and Sonic just right there, I'm in. You know, that'd be great. I mean, I could live with that.
Yeah, I never felt the loyalty to Nintendo. It was like the latest Mario game. I didn't really need that. I mean, I had the last one I think was maybe Mario 3. I wasn't big on Mario 2, and I loved playing Super Mario Brothers when I got my first Nintendo way back in like 1988 and 89. But no, I've never felt like console gaming online. I had Xbox, I think was it PlayStation 3? Was that in 2008? I think I had that. But then the PS4 came out a few years ago, and I had that, but I didn't buy that new. But oh well. But yeah, that electronic gaming stuff, yeah, not my bag. But of course, next year I'll get the Mass Effect thing. But that's the PS5 and the new Xbox is the big toy. I think the big thing to find this year. There's no like Tickle Me Elmo or fidgets or.
It doesn't sound like it this year. It doesn't sound like that's a thing. Like those are things this year.
No.
You know, like if there is no like hot action figure or doll or plush toy or some sort of weird thing like that, you know, nothing like that this time. Although I would assume the Baby Yodas are probably kind of hot, right?
They're omnipresent. I think there's one I think that follows you. Or I think there's one that has like a remote control. You can press it, and it makes noises.
Okay.
But there's plenty of the plushy ones. Even our store got them. They made pillow pets of the Baby Yoda and Chewbacca.
Well, apparently his name's not Baby Yoda anymore.
Yeah, that's a thing, and it's gotten mixed results. But I still like. Well, I'd call it kid or Baby Yoda or the child. But, yep.
So apparently this is not the way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I watched episode 5 like 3 times Friday night. Well, I watched it Friday morning before work. And I watched it twice more. Like in quick succession, I watched it twice just to see I didn't catch anything. Because there's some dark scenes. In episode 5 when they're in this little town.
Oh, are they doing that?
They had that, but it had that Western vibe to it. But I just want to be sure you don't, and there's fights, there's a couple of fight scenes where it's dark and like, then Ahsoka made her appearance and she was awesome as Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka. It was awesome. But yeah, it was good. But yeah, I guess Baby Yoda got a name.
Yeah, but I guess himself. So.
It's like she says it's his name because she can kind of use the Force and communicate with him on some level. Because the baby don't talk, kind of goo goo gaga kind of thing. Still, but now I loved episode 5. It was good.
I think it's funny because it's like there are a lot of people real happy about that character showing up, and there's like a lot of hubbub about it.
Especially since season 7 of Clone Wars came out.
Right. And see, I was never, I'll be honest, I wasn't someone who watched the Clone Wars. So to me, it's like, everybody is like, there's a whole bunch of people really excited about this they've brought this character from cartoon to real life, and I'm kind of like, okay, I guess. I mean, that's the one thing that I think they've got to be careful about is too much fan service to the cartoons and the games.
Well, Filoni is all about that because he was heavily involved in Clone Wars, and Dave Filoni actually wrote this episode. So 2 weeks ago, we had Katie Sackhoff return as Bo-Katan, and she was in quite a few episodes of Clone Wars, I think, maybe even Rebels too. But Ahsoka was prominent in.
Like I said, as long as they can keep it where the general public understands what's going on and they don't have to go do a bunch of research, then fine.
Yeah, it makes me want to go back and watch a couple episodes of Clone Wars. But once I get, when I make the time, it's just so busy now that the holidays, the Thanksgiving holiday's over, and now I've had to work all weekend, so I'm going to spend all week this week decorating, getting the house ready for the big holiday.
You got a lot of time, man. Well, not a lot of time. I mean, I guess technically, like we talked about last time, this is like the latest Thanksgiving's been.
Yeah, well, it's still got 3.5 weeks. It's coming up fast. So how was your Thanksgiving weekend?
It was pretty quiet. Basically spent time with my mom. And, ironically got a whole bunch of stuff that we did through Brown's Chicken and then picked up, a pecan pie through Jewel. And,
how was that pecan pie?
It was alright. It was a little too crusty, if you know what I mean. I felt like there was sometimes a little bit more crust than there was enough filling, or I shouldn't say filling. It just felt like it was like the crust was just too prominent, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. As a quick side note, I'm gonna let you finish. Because we didn't have pumpkin pie. We had an apple pie. And the apple pie was really tart.
Oh.
It wasn't sweet, but it was just really tart. And then, of course, just add ice cream. I don't want to add ice cream. I just want the apple pie. And it was it was okay, but it was just tart. I'm like, I only had one slice and then we threw it out. So,
nice.
Well, we threw it out a couple days later. It was like we had the chance to, then
throw
it out.
But. In fairness, we did pick up some, praline and cream ice cream though to go with the pecan pie. So that really kind of added to it. So it made it worthwhile. But yeah, I Brown's had stuff and we picked up nachos of all things. And they were actually pretty good from there. And then they had some biscuits and some garlic breadsticks that were really, really good. And, then they did these, pre-made trays with mashed potatoes and stuffing and turkey. And yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit there and say I didn't overload as much as everybody else did on turkey. So, but yeah, it was good enough. We didn't want to do a lot for the holiday to have to worry about making it difficult. And it was funny because unlike when we have family, the nice part was we have it in the house. So it's like, okay, we're going to have something at noon. We're going to sit around. It's like, hey, you want some more food? Yeah. Okay. So it kind of turned into an eating day rather than jam it all down our throats and then everybody go home.
No, we didn't have that. Well, we kind of did. Wednesday night we had the appetizers for dinner. So we had the full spread. It was just spread out, so to speak. We had that. And then we had the meal at 3:00 on Thursday, and we gorged, and I was like, oh.
We still have a box of stovetop that we got to get to that we need to make because we did make some earlier in the week and it worked out real well. And I thought it was pretty good. It was funny. I think it was better than what we got from Brown's, but then again, Brown's was the one that we got from Brown's was soaked in gravy. So it was okay, okay, gravy, ooh, gravy, But yeah, no, it was good. Solid holiday. Ended up watching a little bit of the dog show.
And then the football games were just like total blowouts. So it was like not entertaining to watch.
I was going to say, I didn't watch the football at all because when I saw who was going to play, and then I heard later that, there wasn't going to be the late game, which was the only game that sounded interesting. I was like, yeah, let's find some.
Yeah, and the late game was delayed, delayed because of COVID.
Yeah, the irony is the late game is not going to happen until like the day this gets released. Mm-hmm. Which is crazy. I mean, that's just like nuts. They're going to play a game on Wednesday. Have you heard the most amusing part about this? They're going to play this game at like 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon. The reason they have to do it is because NBC is committed to showing the tree lighting at Rockefeller Center that night live.
Yeah, well, that's what they do every year, right?
Right, but that happens to be the night it has to be, and so to
they
get it
have a game at 3 o'clock on a Wednesday.
They're going to have the game at like 3 or 4 o'clock on a Wednesday.
Weird.
And then I think they already announced it. It's like those teams and who they're playing are going to play on like Monday and Tuesday already. So I'm like, it's gonna.
So it was not fun to watch the games because the Texans destroyed the Lions, and the first half of the Washington and Dallas game was okay, but then they just got way far ahead, and Washington smashed the Cowboys.
What did we watch instead? Oh, I know what we watched instead. We'll talk about that in a bit. But
yeah,
did watch. We did watch The Masked Singer, and we watched I Could See Your Voice in the Evening Hour, because Fox moved that over to Thursday night, which was smart. And actually, the fact that there was no live football game then in the evening for NBC, that was interesting because I'm sure they picked up a few extra people. Who normally would have been watching NFL football, but were looking for something new and live and programmed, but or get something unique. Although it was interesting because I think NBC then replayed the dog show on that Wednesday night, which was kind of. I wonder what their numbers were to do that. It'd been interesting. I don't know. I thought the most amusing thing I saw was, and I thought it was a joke at first, is they had. I guess they have. Macy's has a new balloon of The Rock. What? And it's not like the current Rock. It's like The Rock from like when he was like a kid back in the WWE, complete with like kind of like a little bit of an afro.
You mean like fanny? You mean like picture of him with the kid and play hair and the fanny pack?
Yeah, with the fanny, complete with fanny pack. And at first I thought, oh, this has got to be a joke,
picture
right?
Everybody brings up.
Right. Well, I was laughing because I'm like, oh, this is just a joke thing. And I'm like, no, and they're like, no, this is, and then like I saw an article. I think it's on our page where literally it's like, or maybe I didn't put it on our page. Maybe I put it on mine. Where literally I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Who thought this was a good idea? I mean, why do you need I don't get it. What was the thought process? Hey, let's have The Rock as a balloon. Let's not have the current Rock. No. Let's have The Rock. And make sure he has a fanny pack,
90s Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, just like, what was the thought process there? I don't get it. Did you watch or see anything else, or?
Well, like I said, the football was uninteresting. Ivan sent me a video message. I'm trying to add him to the call. I can't, I'm texting him. He's not replying. But the dot says he's on, and I try and add him, and it instantly says he's unavailable. But anyway, Ivan sent me a video call earlier in the day on Thanksgiving, so I had a nice little message.
Right, I saw that. I think I was with family, and I couldn't pick up or something.
And then he sent me a call or something about the Decades channel had on like the old Dean Martin roasts. So I watched a couple of those, and those are funny. Like Don Rickles just totally blowing up Dean Martin. That was funny. And They had one of the roast of Bob Hope had a Governor Reagan in the audience.
Oh, wow.
I know it was up front, like in the front table. And, Norm Crosby was one for, what was it? I forget who it was. It was, for Michael Landon. It was interesting because, he was the Little House on the Prairie. He was the big to-do. That was the number one
absolutely.
show. But yeah, it was funny. I watched a bit of that. Then Thursday afternoon, started working my way towards the holiday viewings. Watched a bit of I think TNT had a vacation marathon, so they had regular vacation, European vacation, and then they had back-to-back screening of viewings or whatever of Christmas Vacation. So I watched some of that, and that's always good for laughs at the end, especially with when the tree goes up in flames and the squirrel he gets in the house. It's good slapstick. No, and of course I watched Mandalorian. Didn't get to anything else. I still got episode 2 of Star Trek Discovery sitting here. I should get to it, but it's been too busy.
Oh, I just picked up a free month of CBS All Access, so I might try to pick up a few things. Okay. Oh, I know I was going to ask you. Do I really, because it sounds like season 3 sounds more interesting than season 1 and 2. Can I skip somehow to get to closer to because let's
skip
go to the
season.
future things. Yeah,
I'd say skip season 1 because I liked season 2 with Captain Pike.
Okay.
So try and get into season 2, when you get bored, just go to the season 2 finale. That'll set up as to why the Discovery is what it is in season 3.
Or should I just watch Lower Decks?
Lower Decks, that kind of grew on me. The first episode was kind of jarring, but it kind of mellowed it out. I mean, towards the end, and the season finale was actually good. Star Trek television. But no, I totally go for Lower Decks.
Okay. I might give it a shot.
But Discovery, I'd start with season 2, because I said I like the dynamic of Rebecca Romijn and whatever the guy's name is playing Pike.
Okay.
We don't see much. We see a little bit of the Enterprise, but just enough to be ooh, cool. But I know this show is called Star Trek Discovery, so it's got to be on Discovery.
Yeah.
But yeah, watch some Trek. Could I say go for it?
Okay. No, good to know. Like I said, it's all of a sudden I happen to notice it's final day of free possibility for a free month of CBS All Access. I'm well, I'm not gonna pass that up. I don't know what I'll watch, but sure.
You got a month? Good. Oh, and XM Radio is free till the end of the year. So I have XM Radio in my truck. I mentioned that, I think, last week, but I was I'll go out and test it in the morning. And sure enough, I got all of XM channels, so listening to...
I'll have to try that in my car when I'm out.
Yeah, the Beatles channel and Elvis channel. Of course, I get this, I found all 4 of the Christmas stations.
I'm sure. 4? There's 4 Christmas stations? Yikes.
Yeah, there's holiday traditions. Boy. So there's the old-timey, wimey stuff. And then Holly, which is a lot of the new stuff. And then there's the Hallmark one. And that's kind of mixed between old and new. And then I think there's one other one around there, episode, channel 100 or something like that, or channel 70. But yeah, there's 4 of the,
is there one that just plays Last Christmas from Wham on a 24-hour cycle to blow people up?
Maybe.
I'm sorry. I've now played The Last Christmas from Wham at least 2 weeks in a row on purpose. I'm I'm getting you early. I don't care. They're it doesn't start till December 1st. You damn well know tomorrow I'll put it on.
Yeah, today's last day of November.
Yeah, as we're recording this, it's November 30th. Yeah. Tomorrow's December 1st. You're damn right I'm putting it on my feed. I swear, that's the best way to play the game, Mike.
Whamageddon?
Is don't be the one who's trying to not hear it. Be the person who's trying to nail them all to make sure that they have to hear it. It's a little bit more fun. I mean, look, why would you see? This is the part I don't get about the game. Why would I pick one of the few Christmas songs that I might actually want to listen to as one of the ones I don't want to hear?
And one who is not of the Christian faith, I'm sure there's a lot of songs who are like, meh.
Well, it's not even that. It's like, okay, you want a real challenge? Okay, don't hear Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas.
Yeah, too damn late for that.
Good luck.
Yeah,
good
that's all over.
luck.
93.9, I think it's on. Well, 93.9, they run the same shit every 3 hours. I mean,
yeah, wow.
that's pathetic. Like, they'll run like every 2 hours. I think they run Nat King Cole's The Christmas Song.
Well, keep in mind, with that station the way it is, though, that's probably a high burn in terms of listenership. A lot of that's about sponsorship, about that. One of the reasons why that station does well is people are going to go there. You can put all your ads. It's a high. They make a lot of money on ads on that station during that time frame. But I can't imagine
they run 2-hour commercial-free blocks. I know, like sponsored by so and so.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
and honestly, I can't imagine there's anybody who listens for more than. I mean, if somebody's listening for more than 3 hours of Christmas music, I think you need it.
Well, if you're stuck at work, like in the office.
Well, yeah, but okay.
That's where you're captive.
Right. But that's, like I said, that's about the extent of it.
Yeah, that's the only reason anyone would be listening longer than 15 minutes.
Yeah. Can you imagine what it's like to work at that station for since October through Christmas? And had to hear Christmas
every day is ugly sweater day. I get to see the DJs drinking out of their Wally World eggnog cups, from
the rest of the staff has to thank God for COVID, because seriously, the rest of the staff would be like, oh my God, make it stop. I mean, how do you do that?
For a 5 weeks solid.
Forget 5, they started back in October.
Didn't they start? I thought they started November 14th or something like that.
Oh, maybe they did start.
They started. They didn't. Start. They usually sometimes they start the November 1, but I think this one they started a couple weeks late.
There were a couple years they started in late October, right after,
or
day
after
right
Halloween,
before Halloween or something.
Before Halloween,
that.
Wow.
Yeah, they had enough. They had enough buy-in that people were buying in, but I think now it's a little bit. But yeah, oh my God, 6 weeks of every day you walk into work, and especially if it's like you said, where it's every 2 to 3 hours they play the same freaking songs the entire time. Yeah.
Speaking of songs, I can't add Ivan, and I'm texting him. He's not replying. Hope he's if he's able, he knows how to reach me. So
man.
I don't know, maybe he's having some, hopefully...
Quick, get the Ivatron.
Activate the Ivatron 3000.
At this point, wouldn't it be the 5000?
Maybe. Or 4500.
Yeah, something like that. 3.14.
Windows 95.
Windows 95. Yeah, seriously.
My first computer had Windows 95 on
it. So I did get a chance... I watched the entire season of Saved by the Bell now.
Is that new series that just dropped?
The one that just dropped on Peacock. So I've watched the whole thing.
Okay, what'd you think?
Overall, I'll give it 3 out of 5.
All right.
So basically here's. Because I don't think you're going to watch it, so I can basically say. So here's basically the premise, which is and they already kind of talked about this, which is Zach Morris is now the governor of California, and of course married to Kelly Kapowski, or Kelly Morris at this point, and essentially gets himself in a pickle with some budget stuff, and so as a result, the kids from this I wouldn't say inner city, but a more how can I say, urban school end up getting sent to Bayside as a merger kind of thing since the school is closed. And so it kind of becomes, the other school's called Douglas, so it becomes kind of like about, they're the kids who come over from Douglas, and then there are the Bayside kids. And so right away I'm kind of like, okay, I feel like this is contrived, if you understand what I mean, which is, it's like, okay, you could have done this a lot of other ways. If you wanted to add some low income or do something that way, I think you could have, and I don't think you needed to do it where it was, oh, we're going to mesh these two, it's they closed this school, so therefore we're going to bring these kids over. Why couldn't you, and of course, all the kids who come over who are the main characters are all people of color, are all black. And so, and of course, pretty much the characters that are the main characters for the new kids are all white, except for one. Well, I shouldn't say it. All white, and one of them is a transgender girl.
Okay.
And so, so basically, there's a little bit of to me, one of the things I noticed, it was funny. I won't say who, but I have a friend of mine who talks to me, who's told me about Star Trek Discovery, and one of the things that they tell me, they complain about to me about Discovery is that it's like this whole show, like Michael Burnham is never wrong, even when she is wrong, and it's like the Michael Burnham show instead of being about Discovery, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do. I was getting a lot of that vibe. And even the season 3 premiere, which is probably why I've subconsciously not wanted to watch episode 2 of season 3 of Discovery. It's just Michael Burnham constantly having her heart on her sleeve and on the verge of tears. Like, I don't know.
Well, and it just seems like Michael Burnham gets away with everything, and there's no consequences to Michael Burnham. And Michael Burnham is smarter than everybody else, and everybody else is an idiot kind of thing.
Yeah, and being raised by Vulcans, she's constantly, like, got her heart on her sleeve. And I'm like,
well, so,
I don't know.
So the irony is, I kind of get that feeling from the 3 kids who are the main leads who have come over from Douglas, which is that, how can I say, I feel like they kind of push the storylines more than the Bayside kids do.
Okay.
And of course you've got Zach and Kelly's kid, and then you've got Jesse Spano's kid. And of course, Zach's kid is pretty much, I mean, the guy looks like little Zach Jr., if you know what I mean.
It's his real kid? It's not?
No, it's not. It's not. It's played by Michael Hogue. I can't remember the exact character name. But the only difference is they kind of make him a little bit more... The father-son relationship is really interesting, where they kind of make it where Zach is not around as much, and, it's very kind of, how do I say... And he starts to kind of become more of a human being at times, but the character that Michael Hogue is playing, which is Zach's kid, is hysterical. It's a good part. I just feel like a lot of the kids from Bayside seem to be, how do I put this, clueless.
Okay.
And it's like silly white people, that kind of thing. Where it's like literally, it's like I'll give you an example. Like literally, the lead character, the lead girl character, God, I can't remember her name, needs to fake out her mom about something, and right away, the 2 of the characters immediately start pulling out headshots for all the actors that they can bring in to basically pretend to be her mom. Like how they used to do it in the old show, except this time they literally admit that they do these things. There's a lot of fan service to the old show in terms of where, things will get referenced from the old show. It's funny. There are moments that are funny. It's interesting. I think my biggest issue is just, and I get that they're trying to aim this to a younger viewership, but at the same time, I really feel like the characters like Zach and Jesse seem like they almost become caricatures of their characters from back in from the original show, and that suddenly they seem to have become. I mean, I'm not going to call them stupid, but you know how it's a lot of those shows, like the teenagers have to be the smart ones, and the parents and the teachers are not so much the smart ones, if you know what I mean. And I feel like there's a lot of that with those characters. I don't know. I really felt like I was surprised because they pretty much, I gotta be honest, AC Slater to me has kind of turned into a loser. Where it's like, he doesn't seem to have a dating life. I mean, looks amazing, doesn't have a dating life, and has been at Bayside as the head football coach for 15 years, but hasn't had a winning season in 15 years. And I'm like,
setting
really?
up as the underdog.
Well, not even the underdog, and just like, I don't know, it just some of the things that he says and how he says them, I'm just like, wow. I'm like, seriously? There's aspects of Jesse where it's like very, very political correct, but at the same time, and it's funny. It's kind of funny because it's like, I feel like a lot of the soul has been stripped away from the original characters just to make more caricatures. Especially with Zach. I mean, he's not regularly in the show, but yeah, I really was, I mean, it really was like, okay, let's use the same Zach Morris playbook for grown up in 40-something Zach Morris in some ways. Like, when it's like, okay, I know that this character has grown a lot more than that emotionally from watching the previous show, if you know what I mean. Kind of felt the same way about, like I said, all four of the main characters, that are the original characters, and all four of them do show up at one point. It's funny. Episode 8 is the one episode that's really more centric around the four of them. And it's interesting because they changed the theme song for that specific episode to the old theme song. Because they do have a new version of the theme. Like I said, overall, I mean, it's funny. It's a good popcorn watch, and it's worthwhile, and they'll probably get it. They'll definitely have a season 2. And it's getting some good reviews. I guess I expected a little bit more. And I feel like that this could have been executed a little bit better. You know, and I don't know if I'm explaining it well or not. You know, I hate to say it, I didn't take ridiculous notes to give examples, but there's a lot of, if you liked the old show, there's a lot of fan service. I mean, like, for example, at one point, the Morrises are having dinner, and Zach mentions Tori, who was the character that showed up for one season when they didn't have Tiffany Amber Thiessen under contract, so they had to bring in an entirely new girl character to be dating Zach, and literally Kelly's like, who? You know, that kind of thing. But yeah, like I said, I'd give it 3. I'd give it a 3 out of 5, maybe 3.5. Okay. But I could see how people would be disappointed if you're a Generation Xer who, you know,
who's raised on the show,
right? Who you know, if you're expecting these characters to, I just felt like these characters were kind of a parody or caricatures of themselves, and that they could have been better. And by the way, what's his name? John Michael Higgins or whatever his name is the principal, and he's very good. He's very good in this show. So, but yeah, even Lark Voorhees shows up for a minute to do a cameo as Lisa. I think the only people from the original show who don't show up is the guy who played Belding, and obviously, what's his name? Screech.
Yeah, obviously the absence of Screech was...
They do reference him, though. They claim he's on the space station.
Yeah, right.
No, I'm serious. They claim that he's up on the space station right now. So that's
he's in jail.
Well, yeah, Dustin Diamond probably, but Screech, okay. But, yeah,
So you watched that? Okay.
So I watched that, and then I watched the final episode of The Undoing from HBO, and it's been the first. So it was a 6-episode. It was almost kind of like a miniseries from HBO, because it's only going to be 6 weeks. I think I don't see how they could ever spin this off into a full-on series. And the main actors in it are Hugh Grant and Nicole Kidman and Donald Sutherland. And they've had some really great texture in this piece. And it's by David Lynch, and there's been a lot of there's a lot of good acting, a lot of good execution. It's been really solid. So we come down to the final episode. And have you ever been like excited to see something, but at the end of the day, it's exactly what the reveal is exactly what everybody thought it was in the first place?
The plot twist?
Like, the plot twist never comes.
Oh. That's the worst plot twist of all.
Right. Well, and that's kind of what happened. It's kind of like the butler did it, and oh yeah, the butler did do it. And it's like, really? You did all of this work to create all this intricacy and all these interesting characters and all of this kind of universe, and at the end of the day, he just did it? That's it? And then out of nowhere, it's, okay, I'm going to take the kid and go on like a police chase. And at one point at the end, it looks like he's going to jump off and kill himself off the bridge. And then it's like, okay, well, maybe the kid will go off on accident and mistake, or maybe he'll throw Nicole Kidman over the side. No, he just ends up getting arrested. And I'm just like, you had so much amazing buildup for 5 episodes. And it was so good. And even like as I'm watching the episode for the last episode, I'm like, okay, where I'm waiting for like the twist. And I guess the twist is, instead of facing the music, he goes and he grabs the kid and he starts driving off like a fugitive. And I'm like, that's the twist? I'm like, okay, I guess. I don't know. I the best way I could describe it, Mike, is I felt like Martin the Martian. What happened to the kaboom?
Where's the kaboom? Right.
There was supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom. Where's the kaboom?
And the plot twist never shows up.
Right, and the kaboom never happens. And you're just like, wow, what? I'm like, it's like you have something that, it's like, you're watching something, it's like, oh, this is really, really, really good, and then, okay, what just happened? But yeah, I mean, overall, I shouldn't say overall. I mean, the worst part is, with all the build-up to the last episode, it's hard for me to sit there and say, oh, it was so good. And it was funny, I listened to, like, the actors afterwards talk about, like, what it was, and it's like, all this, like, understated short layers kind of stuff. And I get it, but it's like, I've talked to a couple people, and everybody's like, yeah, I was kind of waiting for, like, the big twist to happen. I'm like, yeah, I kind of was too. I don't know. I like I said, I don't want to ruin it for people. I'm not saying don't watch it. At the same time, I'm kind of like, yeah, don't have high expectations going into the final episode.
Did they set it up for season 2?
I don't know how they would.
Okay.
I mean, given where they ended it, it's like he's in custody, and they're, Nicole Kidman's character and her father, who's played by Donald Sutherland, end up taking off in the helicopter with the kid. And I mean, the only other thing I can think of is, okay, maybe you could continue to talk to, I mean, they've weaved an intricate world that I guess you could keep moving on with it, but I'm not sure what they would do, you know what I mean? I don't know what they would do next unless it's, somehow, I don't know, Hugh Grant escapes? I don't know. I mean,
If it gets out of prison.
Or something, or they'd have to write something entirely different to bring out something entirely, I don't know. I don't know what they would do. I don't think that there's really, I think this is one of those where it's like, okay, it's 6 episodes and that's it.
Wow.
And that's not a bad thing. I'm not against stuff like that because, I'm all for, I do think there's a place for the miniseries and the short form and all that.
I think maybe it's the shape of television right now, especially since we're not getting any movies.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is, it is kind of funny because I'm not against series like this because there is so much of this, like we talked about in the past, where it's like, okay, great, you get 13 episodes. Oh, well, I'm going to slip in all this stuff in my 13 episodes that you're literally like, just keep going with the plot. And then you're like, okay, where it's like half the episodes you don't need. Well, at least here it wasn't that, thank God. I never felt like when I watched the previous 5 episodes like it was like a waste of time. Except for when I got to the end. That's the problem. That's the problem. It's like, this is so good, this is so good, this is so good. What the fuck was that?
Well, maybe they're just trying to be clever by, less is more approach? Maybe
well, there's, like I said, so basically there's something, and I guess this is the other part I don't understand. So literally the entire time, Hugh Grant and Nicole Kidman's characters are kind of at odds. And they seem, but it's like, kind of like, love you, hate you, love you, hate you, love you, hate you. And it's really obvious that it seems like Hugh Grant's character is going to get off. And then at the last minute, Nicole Kidman's character is like, yeah, I'm willing to testify. And, you said it would be good for me to testify and all this kind of stuff. And, like, the defense attorney kind of goes along with it. Because, like, the husband wants it. And it's like, I don't know, if I was the defense attorney, I'd have been like, no. We're not putting her up there. I don't know. Maybe it's just I'm looking at it from a different perspective. But my vibe was, it's like, if I was the defense attorney, there's no way I would put her on the stand. And basically the long and short of it is, when she puts her on the stand, she's fine. But apparently her friend slipped the prosecutor a whole bunch of information, which the defense attorney was not privy to, and asked an entire line of questions that she can get away with asking because it was brought up, and you get the idea. It was very cleverly done, but it was really obvious. It was really obvious that this was coming a mile away. And it's like, you'd have to be a moron not to, obviously the defense attorney didn't know that was coming, but you'd still have to be a moron with the way they were acting to want to put her on the stand for him at all as a defense witness. But it does have that kind of gotcha, aha moment kind of feel. It just seems so obvious, if you know what I mean. Like, that was what was going to happen and where this was going to go. It's, that was a possibility of where this would go. Like, that she was too much of a loose cannon that you would never put her on. If anything, to me, the one thing that was interesting was, because David Lynch is so known for his show, The Practice, where on that show, their lawyers used to do what used to be called Plan B, which was to attack the witness and basically turn them into the possible murder suspect. I was waiting for the defense attorney to come back in and basically Plan B her.
Right, and the maker of this series is kind of versed in courtroom drama.
Right. I was waiting for because it's all there that you could have built that narrative and yet she didn't do it, and I'm not sure why. And I was waiting for it. But anyway, it's like I said, I'm probably making it sound interesting enough for people to want to check it out if they're listening. It's called The Undoing. It's on HBO. It's on HBO Max if you get that. So yeah, definitely, it's interesting. Like I said, I just expected a really much bigger wow factor at the end than I got. Or something a little bit more satisfying.
But you still liked it up until the end.
I still, right. Like I said, that's the problem. Is it's like, for about 5 and 3/4 of it, it was spectacular. And it's great. And then the last quarter of it, I'm like, really? It's like, you blew it. What are you doing? So I don't know what was the thought process there. So yeah. But yeah, no, absolutely. Like I said, but so yeah, I caught those couple of things over the weekend, and I will try to catch HBO Max has a couple of things that came out exclusive to them. Some new movie that came out exclusive to HBO Max with what's her name? Melissa McCarthy. Something called Super Intelligence. I'll see if I can catch it here in the next week or so. Also, HBO Max had something called Flight Attendant, that it's a short series that looks interesting that I definitely going to try to check out.
Yeah, I think I saw a trailer for that, or some teaser poster on scrolling through social media. I saw that that's coming, so.
Well, it's actually out, so okay. Yeah. So if you've got I want to check that out because I've heard good things. I get the impression it's a little bit of a thriller, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, like I said, it's interesting. The holidays are an interesting time because this Thanksgiving period is an interesting time because a lot of these people are bringing out new content.
Yeah, and I guess Netflix put out the sequel to the Christmas Chronicles with
I guess so.
Jeff Bridges. I know, I'm sorry. God, not bad with names. Kurt Russell. Jesus.
Kurt Russell. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's especially, it's interesting because there's been some broadcast TV shows that have come back, but now, with the holiday, they all kind of disappear again. And you probably won't see a lot of new shows. There'll be a couple that'll linger to the beginning of December here, but a lot of the network stuff is really going to come back probably after January. And we're probably gonna finally get a strong front of network shows here coming up in the wintertime, like in January and February for the first time. So it'll be interesting to see how that all rolls. Because in the meantime, you've got a whole bunch of streaming services that are fighting like crazy to get people to check out their services, and we'll see how this goes. Like I said, I'm curious what the numbers were for people who aren't Comcast subscribers who had access to Peacock, how many might have come to go check out the new Saved by the Bell now, or the only thing I can say about HBO Max is the nice part is that if you're catching a 1-month subscription now, you're going to get Wonder Woman at this point. Well, maybe not. Yeah. If you do it by now, you'll get Wonder Woman.
Yeah, because for the whole month of December.
So. Right, for the whole month of December.
Right.
So some people's reactions are probably going to be, hey, you know what? It's $15, but I get Wonder Woman at the end of the month. So let me check out some of this other stuff that they have on content. Plus, you're getting access to all of the HBO and Cinemax originals as well. So, yeah, I mean plus there's some HBO Max originals as some of the things I've mentioned that are more recent that have come out.
Yeah,
so
plenty to watch. Some of it's festive, some of it's just plain new. So,
yeah. The only other thing I did like I said, it was funny. I had a busy weekend. I ended up some guys I know have done a holiday gaming convention usually over the Thanksgiving weekend. It's funny. This is the reason why I'm never around on Black Friday is, they take advantage of the fact that, well, most people have Friday off. So it's a 3-day convention. So I played, obviously we did everything virtually this year. We were using Roll20.net and we were using Discord to talk on. So, I was pretty much playing almost all day Friday, almost all day Saturday, and half a day on Sunday. So, I got in probably about, I probably got in the neighborhood of probably about almost a full day of role playing in real time. So that was kind of fun.
Whoa.
Yeah, I get like that sometimes, Mike, where it's like, I don't get to play enough, and it's like all of a sudden it's like, okay, there's a game day or a game day weekend. It's like, okay, I can block out the time. Boom.
From sun up to sundown.
Right. And it's like, okay, sun up to sundown. Boom.
Yeah. I've already got friends like posting about, are we getting together this weekend for game night? I'm like, I don't know if we done decorating, if I'm going to have totes everywhere, setting up, take the stuff off the walls. But in short, I'm like, well, you're going to have to host or we're going to have to make it next week because I'm going to be busy decorating. I worked all weekend, so now I got to start decorating like when I'm not at work during the week. So
right, and you're playing in person, but you're playing in person with those guys, right?
Yeah, we still are because we're not internet savvy, and that in the games we play, it's some of it's just cards, so you can't play through. They're just through the dice rolls. So but at least you had a good week gaming day, so that's good.
Yeah, and then Sunday night I did. Like I said, I was actually pretty busy this weekend. This week. Sunday night I did what's called, I've been wanting to do this, but my Sunday nights have been busy. I ended up doing, a storytelling event called the 99 Seconds, Story Slam. And you have to tell a story in 99 seconds. And, you can pre-prep a story.
Did you have one?
Yeah, I did. And if you go over, you're disqualified. And there were 17 tellers.
Did anyone go over?
Yeah, there were a couple that went over.
Oh.
There were a couple that went over. So there were 17 tellers, and there were 4 heats. And there were 4 winners from the heats, and then the assistant judges got to pick their favorite that didn't get picked. So there were 2 others. So there was a final 6, and the winner was going to get close to like $100. I finished in the top 6.
Neat.
I did not win. It was funny because I kind of knew what my first story was going to be. My second story, I was like, I really don't know what I'm doing with this story, but okay, let's give it a shot. And I was getting a little nervous because I'm like, oh god, this is running a little longer than I wanted it to. But I'm qualified for at some point when they're getting through all these, they're going to do anybody who qualified in the finals ends up in what they're calling their Grand Slam. And so I got a shot at that.
You get a breakfast for it?
No, I don't, and I don't even
get bacon.
I don't get bacon either.
Oh.
It's funny. It's funny because they talk about that for the Moth uses the term Grand Slam too, and it's funny. I'm kind of surprised the Moth hasn't sat down and talked to Denny's and talked about a sponsorship like that at all. You think they would? That would be a smart one. Which is here's your Grand Slam champion sponsored by Denny's. Yeah. But this is a small grouping, and I think they had about, with the tellers and everybody there, I think there were probably about 40 people in attendance. Although they did put it live on YouTube and Facebook, and I'm seeing that there are about 226 views. By the way, and there's a link of it on my personal page. I may put it over to the Squares page so people can see it too.
Okay.
Because like I said, honestly, the tellers were great. I mean, they really were. I mean, there was some really great stories, and that I somehow made it through. Oof. I'm
You're
a
in
little
good
surprised.
company.
Yeah, no, I was a little surprised that I wasn't sure I was going to make it through, and I thought I had a really good story. I mean, it was funny. It was something I'd been using for a while, and it was like, what am I going to find that's 99 seconds? I'm like, ooh, I could just take that and make that a 99-second story because it's not that long. I don't think I've ever told you about this. So, never told you about the time I was so a friend of mine had a birthday party for his 6-year-old kid. And, at one point, one of the kids walks up to me and basically is like, "Excuse me, mister, why are you so fat?"
And what was your reply?
Well, and the father's standing right there. He doesn't say a word.
Okay.
So I look down at him, look him straight in the eye, I go, "I eat small children." To which the kid is now terrified and runs off.
Nice.
Across the room, and the father's pissed.
Oh.
And the father's not happy. I'm just like, and it was funny because I didn't think anybody saw it, but my buddy saw
kids
it.
say blatantly honest things.
I understand.
Yeah.
And it was fine. I get that the kid says honest things. I'm waiting for the adult to correct them.
Saying, don't say that. That's kind of...
Right, that's all I'm waiting for is,
yeah.
Don't say that. That's not nice. You shouldn't say that. Father's not doing that at all. And I'm like...
okay. Well...
And I'm like, oh, okay, fine. We're going to be that way. I've used that line a few times, by the way, with kids. A couple of times where kids are like... there was one time I did it to a kid at the when I was working out at Lifetime. And it was like, why are you so big and so fast? And I eat small children. And the kid looked at me, with that look, I'm like, I'm kind of hungry. The kid, it was funny. One of my trainers saw it. It was like, you are so wrong. I said, tell me it wasn't funny. And he's like, I can't tell you that at all. But yeah, so yeah, I used that, and I knew that as soon as I said that line, everybody was going to die. Because that's about what happens. Okay. It's funny though. I'm like, you'll get a kick out of this because my mom hates that story. My mom hates that story. She's like, it's not funny. Nobody's going to find it funny. I'm like, Mom, you're in the very, very, very low. You're in the very, very small minority. Everybody laughs at that story.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's funny.
It's like the kid wants an answer.
Yeah.
And, well, it's because of my pituitary gland or whatever. It's the glandular. It's like whatever.
It's not even that. It's like,
you don't want to give some scientific bullcrap. You want something.
Right. Well, like I said, normally when there's a kid, it's a kid, and it's like, it's a kid, and it's like, okay, there's an adult, or there's no adult around. It's like, okay, you make it a little bit more jokey or something like that, and you have fun with it. But the adult's standing right there.
Yeah.
The adult's standing right there, and it's just like, okay, are you going to say something because you're a kid? You should say something here. And instead, he had this look on his face like, yeah, he told you. I'm like, oh, okay. Okay, we can handle this. I swear to God. Like I said, the one time was funny.
So when you go back, you're going to use the same story, or do you have to use the same story?
I got to use something else.
Oh, you got to use a different story.
I got to have some other stuff.
No. You got something in your arsenal, your little.
Yeah, the nice part is I got a little time to prep to figure out what the hell I'm going to do. The second story was something a little bit more serious. I'm not going to get into it here, but I went a little bit more serious, and it was funny. I was between two ideas, and I didn't have something prepped for the second because I wasn't 100% sure I'd get through with the first one. And it was funny. A buddy of mine was there, and I kind of privately, I'm like, "Is it bad I didn't really prep a second story?" He's like, "Are you kidding me?" He's like, dude. I'm like, I wasn't sure I was gonna win. He's like, how are you not sure you weren't gonna win? I've heard that story before. It's hilarious. I'm like, okay. Yeah, probably. It was, what I had wasn't bad. There was a guy who, at the last minute, the last guy, after his first line, I was like, I'm done. I'm gonna lose. I'm like, I might have a shot at winning this thing. And then the last guy had a great opening line, and I'm like, as long as he doesn't fuck this up, I lose. So. Yeah, but yeah, no, like I said, it was kind of a crazy week. So,
the holidays, it was crazy here, and I've got a contending with a coworker. Well, I'm down. My department's down 2 people. One of them's because of COVID, but they're over it now. But they're just waiting on the doctor to come back, and the other one has had surgery, so they might not be back for a while. So I'm just running around crazy. But yeah, with the holiday in itself is just crazy. So it's par for the course.
Yeah, no, like I said, the back half of the week was really, really kind of busy, and work hard, play hard sometimes a little bit. So it's one of those where it's like, there've been a few times that I've been like, you and I are like, so what you been doing? Not much. What you been doing? Not much. What are you doing? Oh, I got boom, 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 boom. That was one of those weeks. So, but
do we have any news?
I think we do.
Yeah, we got a couple of news items. We
got a couple of things. Yeah. It's funny because Ivan's not here, and one of the ones I wanted to talk about is, so I guess MeTV in January is going to start doing Saturday morning cartoons again.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what that includes. Okay, so it says get ready for Bugs, Daffy, Tom and Jerry, Popeye, and more. Let's see.
Okay, it's the cartoon shows from the pre 80s
we're talking
deregulation, not the like the He-Mans and Ghostbusters and G.I. Joe.
Well, I don't know. Like I said, I'm looking right now. Okay, so according to this, it starts January 2nd. It's a 3-hour block that starts at 6 a.m. Central. Let's see. It includes Looney Tunes, Merry Melodies, Popeye and Friends, and Tom and Jerry. Let's see. It says that's not all. As well as some new friends. I don't know what that means. Maybe there's more surprises coming, but you get the idea.
Okay. That's cool.
So it looks like it's basically kind of some of the old school ones. But that's okay. I mean, it's not a bad idea. I mean, now you just got to get that giant Mondo bowl of cereal for the kids,
Mm-hmm.
Have it ready to go.
Cereal is essential.
So what was your go-to on like a Saturday morning?
Crunch Berries.
Crunch Berries?
Yeah, that was mine. Either that or I don't know. Fruity Pebbles. That was mine.
I will admit, I kind of was a Frosted Flakes guy. I always did
gets
like
soggy fast. That kind of, especially like, of course, they all kind of get soggy fast, but Frosted Flakes is okay.
Yeah,
or Cheerios, but I always add sugar when I have Cheerios.
Well, that's why you get the Honey Nut Cheerios, right?
I never cared for Honey Nut Cheerios. That's always
really?
Regular, yeah. Or I'd eat regular Cheerios or honeycombs. That's one I'd eat dry.
Mm-hmm. See, to me, Honey Nut Cheerios, that's why I always did Honey Nut Cheerios, was because it was like, by the time you get done adding the sugar, it was like, okay, I'm almost better off eating Honey Nut Cheerios. I mean, Captain Crunch, obviously. I mean, if I could do Captain Crunch mix with, like, Frosted Flakes, that would have been perfect. Fruit Loops is always pretty good, too, but, I don't know. Anything I get my hands on.
Yeah, Apple Jacks and Fruit Loops. Those were some of mine.
We always ended up having, like, the real healthy cereals in the house. So it was like, I always had to, like, make do with, like, I had to find ways to, like, do, like, okay, here's like, granola, crackling oat bran, like frosted mini wheats, like put that shit together and try to make
at least
it work.
the frosted mini wheats, sometimes there was frosting on the half on one side.
Yeah, right. Actually, the crackling oat bran stuff was pretty good. That was like crack. I mean, it's pretty good. Although Life is always one that I was more of a fan of than others.
No, I never had that. I wasn't big on that.
I think I told you the chocolate peanut butter Cheerios are amazing. If you can get your hands on that now.
Yeah, I've not seen it in stores. Of course, I'm not consciously looking for it because I don't even
It's in Jewel. I mean, honestly, I use it for snack purposes where it's like I'll put like a bowl. I'll take like a bowl and I'll throw it out there and boom, like if I'm watching or I'm binging or something like that, or if I'm gaming, it's like a nice little thing to have. Where I don't even need like the milk. It's like just give me a bowl of that to munch on. I guess Peter Dinklage is going to be the new Toxic Avenger.
Bring it on.
Said that out loud.
Bring it on. This is the year 2020. Anything goes.
I guess at one point there was a musical. I didn't even know they had a musical called Toxic Avenger.
Yeah, and we discussed this article before.
Right, but before we got on the air.
And neither of us knew there were 6 Toxic Avenger films.
Right. Well, I mean, I remember that there was more than one. I remember there was at least 2. And they were so bad. I mean, they really were.
Late at night on Showtime.
Oh my God. They
in the
were
80s.
Horrible. They were so horrible. I mean, that's what half the appeal was they were just so bad that it was great. Yeah. Oh my God. And then I don't know, did you catch this on Disney Plus? I guess they did a specific logo for Chadwick Boseman for his birthday for Black Panther.
Oh, did it already was his birthday, or?
Yeah, I guess it was recently, or.
Oh, yeah, okay, let's go. They had a special tribute.
Yeah, so I guess they did a special tribute on their page. So yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
It's been slow news for the holiday.
Yeah, well, like I said, it's been slow. At the same time, I kind of laugh because it's like we're starting to get more stuff out there from a streaming perspective. I mean, I know Netflix is releasing stuff all the time. At some point I'll pick up some Netflix and check out like Queen's Gambit and all that stuff, but I haven't had a chance to. So, here, Daredevil fans are trying to get a revival of Daredevil from
Netflix. Well, doesn't Netflix still own it, or did that Fox?
I think I
don't know if that's been ported back over to Disney yet.
No, I guess the rights have been ported
back to Disney Marvel.
Yeah, it's Disney Marvel.
Okay, not Fox Marvel. I thought Fox is done with. Well, Fox is now part of Marvel Disney. So.
Right, yeah. So, but to me, I don't know. Did you ever see the Daredevil show?
I watched the first episode. Like, wow, this is bloody. So, like, was not for me.
I mean, look, there's some solid aspects. It's solid, but again, a lot of that same problem we always keep talking about, which is, they didn't have a budget for this thing.
And the fight scenes were subdued, and you don't see what's going on because you can't afford all the high action choreographed fighting.
Right. Well, they can if it's really dark, and they can bring in all all the substitutes. And my favorite part of the whole thing is it's like, then put him in the suit sooner. Don't just put it where he's wearing like a mask over his face. Put him in a suit quicker than like the end of the first season. If you need to make body doubles. I mean, geez. I mean, this isn't rocket science.
Yeah. No, it wasn't for me. I didn't watch any of the Iron Fist or Luke Cage, or I heard The Punisher was good. Didn't it have like 1 or 2 seasons?
Yeah, they had a couple seasons of Punisher. They had a couple seasons of Punisher. Luke Cage was all right. Again, and again, I know I'm in the minority from certain people, but I'm telling you, I mean, it really was like sometimes where it was like, God, just freaking get to the point already. Like, they're outside of like where they're about to attack, and it's like, here's a 15-minute like dialogue that it's like, why does there have to be this long dialogue here? Just freaking go.
Just compress the season into lesser episodes. So
or like I said, it was just kind of like, I don't know. I just don't get it. I mean, but it's funny because like people are wanting them to come back and do more of that show. Well, first of all, here's the thing. If you're going to put it on Disney Plus, first of all, it can't be exactly like what it looked like on Netflix because it's too dark. And what you just said,
it's not family friendly either.
It's not exactly family friendly either. The second thing is, there's going to be enough people who haven't seen, and I know people are going to be like, you're full of crap, people have seen the Netflix show. No, the hardcores have seen the Netflix show. A lot of people would not see the Netflix. Not enough people saw the Netflix show. So if you're going to try to do a continuation of the Netflix show, it's just going to confuse people. So really, in reality, the truth is if you're going to do Daredevil, and you're going to put it on Disney Plus, you're going to have to reboot. Now, could you use the same people? I guess you could. But really, in reality, if you're going to reboot,
then it's just going to be watered down like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. then. And
well, I don't know. Well, no, I think if they reboot entirely, I think they'll do it a lot like the Vision Wanda stuff, and that kind of stuff. I think it'll become that kind of a piece versus we're not going to see stuff like the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff again. Part of that problem was that there was kind of a...
It was TV budget for one thing.
Well, not only that, there were issues about who was in charge of what, and there was some politics involved. And I feel bad because Jeff Loeb, who's a phenomenal writer and producer of comic books and knows his stuff, who was the head of Marvel's TV entertainment, kind of got caught in the middle of this thing. And it's funny because we haven't seen anything from Loeb in a while since he got kind of, I don't want to say shit canned, but Feige pretty much took over TV besides the movies, and they're going to have a different feel. They're going to have more of an MCU feel, which was what the plan was. I shouldn't say the plan, but they were supposed to be part of that in the first place. And then there was a lot of that. There was a lot of, how can I say, there was a lot of politics within Marvel itself about this, and Jeff Loeb, who was in charge of Marvel TV, kind of got caught in the middle. And in fairness, that said, there's a lot of stuff that Jeff did a few different shows for Marvel, but I gotta tell you, there's a lot of stuff that Jeff did that did not go over that well. That Cloak and Dagger show didn't last long.
Well, he did his best, I suppose, right?
Right, yeah. Right. Well, but like I said,
but what he was doing was incongruent to the people who were running the movies. So,
well, they found ways to make it work. Just like, for example, you mentioned about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of ended up doing their own thing in some ways because they weren't able to they kind of matched a little bit with the movies, but not really. And so, that made it problematic too.
Yeah.
So it'll be, like I said, now in theory, all of this is going to get run by Kevin Feige, which means that it's going to be Kevin Feige's show about creating new Daredevil content. And, it's going to look a lot different than what a Netflix show would look like. And to me, the biggest question I would have is, all right, don't get me wrong. There were some interesting castings and some good actors. I mean, but of all the actors who were playing in the Daredevil show, the only one that off the top of my head, I'm literally sitting there going, yeah, that's the person I bring back for sure, is Vincent D'Onofrio to play the Kingpin. Other than that, the rest of them can kind of go.
Well,
I mean, that's not to say they weren't good. I'm just saying, I mean, D'Onofrio did a good enough job playing the Kingpin that I would give him another shot in an MCU series.
Yeah, I don't have any. Like I said, I didn't watch any of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right.
I'm watching that, but I heard there was the Daredevil was good, but it's got a solid enough following where they're petitioning Marvel to try and bring them back.
Right.
But it won't be on Disney Plus in the same way. They know it.
I don't think they do.
Yeah.
I don't think they do. I think that's part of the problem.
You're not going to see blood splattering everywhere on Disney Plus.
Unless at some point, because at one point they were talking about moving some of those types of shows to Hulu. And in fairness, Hulu getting some more adult Star Wars and Marvel content to be on Hulu would probably be helpful. But again, that assumes a lot. And I don't know if that's Disney's plan or not. I don't know what Disney's plan is with Hulu as much as I do, as much as what we talk about with Disney Plus. And as it is, I guess here's the real test. They're in the process, as we talked about in the last show, about creating Deadpool 3. Where's that going to go?
Yeah, we don't know.
And when I say where is that going to go, I mean after it hits the theaters. Are they really going to put Deadpool 3 on Disney Plus? Because I don't think they are. I mean, I don't know that they can. How would you do that?
No, they can't put they can put, I think they had, didn't they have an edited for TNT? Or one of the cable channels? Maybe it was FX. They put an edited version of Deadpool up that had, the swear words. It was homogenized to the point where it's like, it wasn't watchable. Because it loses that spirit,
Well, and that's what I mean. I mean, that's kind of the point I'm getting at, is it's like, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I don't, that's why I kind of laugh about it, is your reaction is, don't they have to know that they can't get it exactly what they want? And the answer is, I don't think they do. I think the closest thing they could get is all those people being kept as the cast with an entire reboot. Because that's what would have to be.
Yeah, that would have to be. But at least with the same actors. But
right.
No.
Maybe you keep the same actors, but otherwise, yeah, I don't know what else you could. As long as you don't keep the guy who played Iron Fist. Just don't keep that guy. I lost my chi. I can't find my chi. Oh my god. I never got around to watching season 2 of Iron Fist. There's a part of me where I want to watch season 2 just to see.
But you did watch The Defenders.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. And it's funny, for the first 2.5 episodes, it's awesome. And then
when the band gets together?
It's funny, when the band gets together, it should be great, right? No.
And
then it gets dark again. You can't see anything.
It's dark again.
And it's like dark.
Turn the brightness on your TV up. So
it's like, they ran out of budget here too. And the funny part was, like, the big bad technically was, like, Sigourney Weaver. And I'm just like, maybe don't pay Sigourney Weaver and, like, buy some lights. I don't know what else to say. I mean, the best part is that it wasn't like, if I remember correctly, I can't remember how many episodes it was. I can't remember if it was 5 or 8 episodes. Okay. All I know is it was like It was good. And then it was like, oh, this is going to be great. And then it was like, oh.
And it wasn't.
They went back to, okay, now we're going to have long conversations again. I don't care about.
Where's the bam and pow and the zap? And
I mean,
superheroes.
The funny part was it took them 2.5 episodes. That's what it was. Oh, that was the problem. It took them 2.5 episodes to get them all together. Then there were 2 awesome episodes where they're together. And then it went back to
snores.
And then you're like, oh God, when is this? And then they get to the end and it's like, they must have ran out of budget because everything is dark. You can't see shit.
They're trying to go for the film noir look. No, they're going for the we didn't pay the electric bill look.
Yeah, seriously, that's kind of what it looks like. It's like, we ran out of budget. We need to make sure that we don't need to show actual people doing the stunts so we can bring in random stunt people to go do it all. It's like, come on.
It's like season 2 of Titans kind of suffered from that too. And the leading up, it just wasn't a big of a payoff. Maybe just, like I said, if they just eliminated a couple episodes, shortened it a bit, compressed it, instead of having it all drawn out, that would help create a better narrative.
Boy, there's an example of, you know what, it's funny, there's an example of where it's like the first half of the season, I'm like, wow, this is really great. Really, really great. This is amazing. And then, there's an example of where something just takes a right turn. And you're like, oh, come on, really? And then there's the one episode, I don't know have you seen them all yet? Or
Titans,
no?
Yeah, I've finished Titans, yeah.
You finished it? Then there's the one, then it's like, they go on the Dick Grayson journey for how he has to become Nightwing. Because we can't have the actual what actually happened, because that doesn't work.
Not for this series.
Not for the series.
No.
And then you come up with this weird thing where Dick goes to prison.
He goes to prison and then he...
I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
He gets himself arrested at the airport. And...
Right. I'm like, what the fuck is happening here? What is this? And then it's like they show Superboy, and it's like they forget they have Superboy for a while.
Yeah.
And then he shows back up again, and then Candace kind of shows up, and it's like, and the Deathstroke stuff was better than I expected it to be, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know, it just got messy after a while.
And then
it was like,
the season 3 tease of the Starfire arc, or Blackfire or whatever.
Oh, did you see that's what we didn't talk about last time. Did you see the new cop? They finally got her a legit costume.
Right, and not just like just a trench coat.
Right. Well, it's like, when the show first came out, I mean, we all kind of laughed because it's like, if they'd have had that look and that outfit and her dressed up like that in the first place, none of that shit would have happened. None of the comments, none of the stuff, none of the complaints, nothing.
None of the backlash, yeah.
None of the backlash. And it's like a lot of people said, it's like, looks amazing, looks incredible, really excited to see this. And most people's reaction was about time. If this is how you had started with it. And the only other comment I heard from people, and I'll admit I made this point, it's like, I see HBO gave them a budget now.
Right.
HBO Max gave them a budget. Good. That's a good thing. I'm kind of appreciating that.
Up their game while Marvel is still reorganizing.
Yeah, or not only that, it's like, hey, you know what? This show might actually be able to get us some people to watch it if we put a little more production value in it and give it a little bit more of a little oomph factor. And I'm like, hey, that'd be good. We'll take that. It should. That was like one of the... Look, that, I don't care what anybody says. People can talk about Justice League all they want, but quite frankly, for a long period of time, the number one teen book at DC Comics was either at one point it was Legion, but really for a long period of time it was Titans, and that book is kind of where DC got their resurgence back in the 80s, was right there. And, you know, and at one point it was the number one selling book. And that includes Batman, by the way. That's
saying a lot.
That includes Batman. This was before the Batman movie happened in,
right
in
before
80, in 89.
Keaton, right. Mm-hmm.
You know, those, and so you're talking the 80s, a hot time for comics, right before that Keaton Batman movie. But up until that point, Batman wasn't the number one book at DC. Titans was. And it's kind of funny because Titans was, and that meant that Dick Grayson was like one of the most well-known, most popular characters that they had, which is why I always laugh because, you know, everybody, you know, there's a whole bunch of people who are like, well, you know, Dick Grayson, you know, he's really just kind of the now grown-up sidekick to Batman. It's like, not if you read a whole bunch of Titans in the 80s, he's not. Yeah. I'd love to see them do Judas Contract, but I don't know how they would do it. It would be fascinating if they could pull it off.
Well, I mean, they've tackled Trigon, they've tackled Deathstroke. There's not much left,
right?
I mean, where do you? It's all downhill from. Just Trigon is supposed to be their biggest baddie.
Well, the thing about Trigon is Trigon could always come back.
And they teased that too for season 3.
He could always come back. I was kind of surprised that he was vanquished so quickly at the beginning of season 2.
Yeah, there was the whole build-up. All of season 1 was the build-up to Trigon, and then the first season 2 premiere, nope, he's done. We're going right to Deathstroke.
Yeah, I thought, and it's funny, because that could have gone another 2 episodes. They could have done a lot more with that, and I think there's another example where they ran out of budget. Or they ran out of budget, that there was only so much they could do with Trigon.
Having to do the Beast Boy effects, too. I mean,
yeah,
they couldn't afford to have that every episode, like in the cartoons.
Right.
It was different, but with this as live action, yeah, they could easily eat their budget up from Beast Boy in a fight.
Right. Well, and the amusing part about that is it's like I'm almost at the point with Beast Boy where it's like we should really just call him Tiger Boy because the amount of times that he's been anything other than a tiger.
I think there was one scene where he was a snake.
Right, there's like a couple of scenes.
Yeah, that's
where
it.
He's not.
Yeah, because they got to get their money's worth from that tiger trainer. So
yeah, or whatever the hell they do. Yeah,
green spray paint.
Yeah, seriously. No, and that's. I hope HBO has that HBO money takes care of that.
And if the new look for Starfire is going to reflect the new look of the new characters, sure.
But I heard stuff about that the upcoming season is set in Gotham, which is strange because it's like I'm hearing stuff about like Two-Face and the Joker.
No, you can't have.
Yeah,
you can't have the Joker in a Titan story.
Well, but they're talking about Jason being the Red Hood right away, and they're talking about the Titans being based out of Gotham. I'm not sure what they're.
No.
I mean, I think they're going in an interesting direction because there is still some stuff that they could do. Like, I'm trying to remember, did they run into the Fearsome Five yet? No, I don't think they did.
No.
They didn't deal with Dr. Light yet.
Yeah, they did. Dr. Light was in season 2.
That's right, he was. He was in season 2. But the rest of the Fearsome Five have not showed up.
Mm-hmm.
The Brotherhood of Evil they haven't touched because that's really a Doom Patrol thing, probably at the moment. But I haven't looked at Doom Patrol, so I don't know. I really should. Now that I have access to HBO Max, I should check out Doom Patrol. But I'm guessing the Brain and Mala and the Brotherhood of Evil are probably in Doom Patrol.
Maybe.
Which means you probably are not going to get them in Titans. But Brother Blood, I mean, to me, that you haven't tackled Brother Blood yet, kind of that's still open. And if they go with what Johns pulled in the 2000s, where Brother Blood was connected to Trigon worship, which initially that wasn't the case, but John's changed it around a little bit, or the newer version did that, then you could possibly go into bringing back Trigon again. But yeah, I mean, there's some possibilities for a couple more things for a couple more seasons. I'm fascinated by how you plan on dealing with the fact that you're going to, at some point, you're dealing with the space shit. And I don't know what budget you got for that. I don't know what budget you got for that.
Right. With Blackfire, right.
With Blackfire and all that. I mean, I don't, I mean, unless you're bringing everything to the planet, they're going to invade the planet or something, which would be different because that's not what happens. But it'd be interesting to see the Omega Men. But I don't expect we're going to get them either.
No.
Yeah, like I said, there's some openings for some things that they could do, but I don't know that we're going to get them.
So I guess they've started filming season 3 of Titans?
Yes, and there's big stuff that's out there.
Yeah.
Like there's pictures of Jason in the Red Hood outfit.
Okay.
And that's why, like I said, what I've heard is they're in Gotham, and I've heard stuff about Batman villains. And I'm like, okay, I guess.
Well, Teen Titans has their own rogues gallery they can choose from. I don't know why they go to Gotham.
Don't ask me.
I don't know. We'll find out.
I'll
watch
you.
it.
I'm kind of with you, which is is it just something? You know, the only other thing I can come up with is, well, they're on HBO Max right now, and maybe they're trying to catch some eyes of some people who, you know, might normally not look at it, and by having some of that kind of stuff, maybe they'll catch it. I mean, the other thing is, like I said, they're talking about doing Jason as the Red Hood, which I'm kind of now. See, that would be interesting. If they're talking about Jason as the Red Hood, are they planning on showing where Jason gets killed by the Joker?
Wow.
And then comes back to life or something, or whatnot, or whatever the hell it is. I mean, there's a part of me where it's like, you could, I mean, honestly, if you really want to go there, it would be interesting to have a Titans arc with Ra's al Ghul. Or Ra's al Ghul, however you want to pronounce it. That could be worthwhile. Yeah, the League of Shadows. Yeah,
the League of Shadows.
You know, that could be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It really could. I mean, I'd be.
Yeah, go for the deep cuts. Why do they have to bring up, you know, the Gotham villains, the Batman villains?
Well, ironically, that would be a Batman villain, though. But that would be an interesting way of bringing a Batman villain in. The only other thing I can think of is, you know, there's history between Dick Grayson and Two-Face that's been there.
Okay.
That maybe they want to explore that, you know, that there was always this, there were always some stories of some retcon stories about where, you know, at one point, you know, Two-Face got a hold of Dick Grayson, and there were some things that happened, and because there was always that for a little while. And the other thing that would be interesting is if they bring in some Bloodhaven stuff, which is where Nightwing is when he's not on Titans, and maybe if they brought in Blockbuster as a character, which is actually a Nightwing villain. But again, I don't know. I don't know what they're up to or what they're. I mean, there's some options. I mean, because you're really probably never going to get a Nightwing show, which I would absolutely die for. But
no chance of it now with Titans. They'll just keep it in Titans.
No. You know, I was crossing my fingers with the Batwoman show that maybe we might see Dick Grayson, but I don't think that'll happen either. So
with the Bat family,
I kind of thought, and it's funny because I kind of thought maybe that's where we'd see Jason Todd, but that's not happening either. So I'm kind of curious who, and now with them having to practically restart the entire show almost, because they're changing people to be Batwoman. I don't know. I can't. That'll be fascinating too, by the way. is, basically you've got someone literally they practically are rebooting, trying to basically keep going from season 1 of Batwoman and yet rebooting the entire character.
And they're just having another character that wasn't any at all. I mean, there was only one, right?
She's not even. Well, it's funny because it's like she's not even connected, from what we can tell. From what I can tell, the character that's becoming Batwoman isn't connected to any of the rest of the family and cast. And I'm like, I'm sure they can make it work, but there's a part of me where I'm like, man, you're real. If it works, awesome. If it doesn't, this is a real, because I just feel like it's a reach. It's a huge reach, and I almost feel like they'd have been better off, like, okay, we're going to kill the show. But
either that or just have, second Darren from Bewitched. Replace the actress.
Or something like that, right, or something like that, but they decided to try to get more, and the other part that's interesting to me is supposedly they're not killing off Kate Kane as the Kate Kane character, from what I understand. So what? You're expecting at some point Ruby Rose to come back?
Not likely.
Maybe to do a cameo? Maybe?
Maybe. Huh?
Maybe if it goes a couple more years, you could pull Ruby Rose out and make a cameo appearance somewhere and do something. I don't know. Like I said, to me, I just kind of laugh because it seems like that's a good time to. I would have pulled the plug there. I mean, it hurts them because I don't think they had anything to fill with, but I would have pulled the plug there because it's funny because it sounds like there's rumblings that this might be the last season of Legends of Tomorrow as well.
Yeah, but that rumor came out.
Right, but again, from We Got This Covered, which means we ain't got, which really should be known as We Ain't Got Shit.
Yeah. We Got This Covered.com is that's a rumor mill.
Yeah.
That's
why don't we just look?
Why
don't we just look at Cosmic News and something like that? But one of these days, I want a story that basically, if one of the two of them sources the other one. You know what I mean? Because then it would be total bullshit.
Right. Maybe there's the two would ever meet, and then they'd be like some matter and antimatter collision, and the two would cancel each other out.
Yeah. We got this cosmic news, or we got this we got this cosmic covered, or we got this news covered, or just trying to amalgamate it, but. I think the only other thing that was going to bug you is I don't know if you saw. I think you might have answered this on my page about the snack, the snack cake, snack bar kind of stuff that you can.
Little Debbie, yeah. I went out tonight after work and I did get my Little Debbie tree cakes, so I'm happy.
Did you really?
Yes, I am happy.
I'm not big. So what is it?
That's like the zebra cakes. Like
is that what that is?
Pretty much. But they're shaped like trees, and they got the hard little sprinkles on top.
So what did you pick? Cause, so our listeners know the options were Twinkies, Ho-Hos. Apparently, there's this fudge brownie with M&Ms on it.
That's a cosmic brownie.
Is that the cosmic brownie? Okay. Yeah. And then you've got the oatmeal. You got the oatmeal cream pies. Then you got the zebra cake thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know what this other thing is it looked like a Rice Krispie kind of thing.
Yeah, I forget what those are called. I used to have those, but it's like it has the same kind of like consistency of like 100 grand bar.
Yeah,
it's a caramel chewy center, but it has like a Nestle crunch on the outside.
And then you've got the Hostess cupcakes. You've got basically a glazed.
It's a honey bun.
Honey bun.
Yep.
And then you've got Nutty Buddies, which I don't know how anybody doesn't pick Nutty Buddies, but that's just me. If they made trees that look like Nutty Buddies for the holidays, I'm all over that.
Now, I picked the ones that are like the Ho-Hos, which is like the Little Debbie equivalent to Hostess Ho-Hos.
Mm-hmm.
because it's kind of the same but kind of different. And that and the zebra cakes and honey buns. That's the 3 I picked.
That's a good. So okay, so I definitely took the Nutty Buddy without question. Nutty Buddy was number one on my number one by far. And then I went. I don't know why. I've always liked the oatmeal cream pies. I've just always loved those things. And then my third choice, honestly, I wasn't sure where to go, but I figured, all right, I'll go with the Twinkie because you can never really go wrong with Twinkies.
Well, I mean, the Hostess Twinkies are awesome. I never cared for the Little Debbie approximation.
Oh, is this supposed to be the Little Debbie?
It's all Little Debbie, yeah.
It's all Little Debbie?
Yep.
Okay, interesting. I didn't realize Little Debbie made a Twinkie.
I forget the name of their, but it's a ho-ho, but it's Little Debbie has their own name. I forget the name of it. It was something like,
See, I just assumed these were all the Hostess ones, and then they kind of mixed it. But...
Nope.
Interesting.
Little Debbie has their own cupcakes, their own ho-hos, and their own
But
Twinkies.
it looks exactly, well, maybe because the picture looks exactly like the Hostess ones. Maybe that's what they had to go get, was the ones that looked like the Hostess ones, because that was the most obvious ones they could get.
Yeah, that's important for me every Christmas to be sure I get those Little Debbie tree cakes. I like those.
At some point, I'll have to go find the Reese's trees. Those are good.
Oh, the peanut butter trees. Oh, yeah.
Yes, those are evil.
I'm sure.
Although it's funny. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sure they're at Walgreens.
Yeah. Although it's funny, I'm sure there are a few places where I could still get the pumpkins at cheap.
Maybe, yeah. Somewhere on clearance, it's 75% off in some bin somewhere.
Yeah, something like that.
Some dark corner where the...
Yeah, although do I really want to touch them? It's been how long? Almost a month? Yeah.
No. The Defenders are hanging out in that dark corner of the store where the pumpkins are still at.
Yeah, I know. Boy. Yeah. Like I said, it's the, God, it's the dark corner of his store. Oh, you can see the Twinkies. The Twinkies are more lit up than Danny Rand's hand in Iron Fist. God, I tell you. By the way, because you've got Netflix, right?
Yeah, I have access to it.
Oh my God, it is so bad. It is so bad. It's worth watching. The first season. I mean, that's just how bad it is.
No.
It's just so.
It's unfortunate.
It's so.
And his
horrible.
costume was drastically somewhat different, right, from his comic iteration? I mean, they all were variations, but I think Luke Cage was kind of close as far as his outfit.
Well, right, because Luke Cage in later years has gone to a hoodie.
Right.
And at one point it was funny because I think they did actually get him in like the Power Man looking suit at one point with the weird silver visor thing on his head. But I think there was a scene where that happened, and we were all like they did it on purpose just to get a good laugh. But
right, like a little Easter egg.
Yeah, like an Easter egg thing. But oh my God, the guy who played Danny Rand is just. And then the plot was it. I mean, oh God, it was everywhere.
Yeah, we could go on for hours about how Jeff doesn't like Iron Fist, but
it's not that I don't like it. I love it for all the wrong reasons now. I almost want to watch it because it sucks that bad. I mean, at one point there was a guy who is clearly one of the bad guys. That I'm literally like, that guy right there is the only person I want to root for in this entire fucking show. He's the only one I feel bad for. It's his brother. It's like the son of like one of the protagonists. And he's not a great guy, but it's like, this guy's like the only person in this show that I'm like, actually like, God, I hope you like, everything goes okay for you. Like the rest of you can go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself, seriously. Just like the Iron Sheik on Twitter.
I mean, yeah, seriously. Yeah. Hey, brother, go fuck yourself. Take your chi and fuck.
Yeah, I guess he was in Mike Tyson's corner last weekend. Well, maybe not
was
literally.
He really?
No, he wasn't there.
Oh.
I mean, he was obviously rooting for Tyson.
Oh, okay. Well, I figured we'd talk about that on News of the Square.
Yeah, we'll save that for later in the week.
There's some good stuff from News of the Square, just in general. But yeah, all right. So if people want to check out News of the Square, they want to check out all our stuff or talk to us or all that stuff, what do they do?
Check us out on Instagram and Twitter. We're at SOTRT Podcast. We're on YouTube. Click the bell. You can subscribe and know when new episodes drop. You can download the show on your usual podcast hosting platforms, Google, Apple, Spotify, Anchor. And you can follow us on Facebook, the Squares Roundtable, obviously. That's the name of the show you're listening to, and that's the name of our Facebook page. Hey, strange coincidence. Mm-hmm. That, and you can follow the crazy stories that we have on our other show, News of the Squared. That's also the crazy stories from the Facebook page. You can listen, you can read them there. And email us at sotrtpodcast@gmail.com. Jeff is on Facebook. It's Dynamite Productions. Ivan is on Twitch at twitch.tv or JAVANIVAN, Java and Ivan on Twitch. And of course, give us a like and thanks for listening. If you want to leave us a review, we won't say no.
Yeah, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah, sure. So I guess
we'd appreciate it.
That's just that'd be about due for 127.
If you give us a review, we'll give you a shout out on the show or something.
Sure. Leave us a review or send us an email. Just let us know you're first time listening, and maybe it might be my last. But thanks for stopping by, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're gonna head out because we need to check out on about our friend Ivan and make sure he hasn't OD'd on gravy and stuffing or whatever the hell else.
Yeah. Yep. Alrighty. Take it easy, folks. We'll talk to you later. And be well. Be safe.